So as of tomorrow, XDefiant is out for 2 weeks, and frankly, I've been having a blast with the game, putting the most time into this than any other game recently. I'd probably say that like Helldivers was the only other one that kind of compared, and then the launch of COD last fall, which is to be expected when you have a channel based predominantly around Call of Duty at that point. But XDefiant's launch has been a busy one, and it seems like coming out of the launch, that there's some good news to report back for the game and the future ahead. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below on what you're thinking with XDefiant, liking the game so far that you've played, happy to see the game succeeding as it has been. Let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe for more XDefiant coverage, tips, tricks, guides, tutorials, all of that kind of stuff, along with other FPS content. Like Black Ops 6 is being revealed by this time next week and more. So I'd love to have you in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers this year. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's start with the game's launch. Recently, it was reported that the game's success far exceeded what was anticipated internally. It was first and early reported that XDefiant had hit 1 million unique players within 2.5 hours of the game's launch. That means 1 million players downloaded it across Ubisoft Connect on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Granted, a lot of players were waiting for the servers on day one, and it launched during the workday for North America. The game's launch marked Ubisoft's fastest ever game to reach 1 million unique players. For comparison, the massive hit that is Apex Legends, when it dropped in 2019, it hit 1 million unique players in 8 hours, 2.5 then in the first 24. So a more explosive launch by direct comparison to a game that's still going strong 5 years later. Not a bad sign for the game initially speaking, right? But it's actually reported that it got even better as those numbers didn't just fizzle out. It was reported a little later that in 1 week, XDefiant had hit 8 million unique players, exceeding that of the internal milestone set for the game that was a goal of 5 million unique players in the first month. So you far exceed that by 3 million players in just a week's time, as opposed to the entire month that you had set for that. As for the concurrent players, a little under a week ago, it was reported that it was in the 700,000s across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, with those numbers perhaps growing since that time of publication, but no additional data has been given just yet. Now, those reports, awesome to hear for multiple different reasons, I think. Number one, if you're enjoying the game, that means that many more are as well. Frankly, that's the one thing that I strongly encourage, and you could take as a message directly from me. Just play what you enjoy. That's what gaming is meant to be, bringing enjoyment and some happiness to you as a player. It doesn't have to be a constant chore to play a game, and multiple games can coexist. Between, say, Call of Duty and XDefiant content, I'll see people going at it in the comments. It's all right to enjoy one thing, whereas other people may not. There's no need to expend that energy on something you don't enjoy. Number two, it's great to have more games to play, just in general. I expected XDefiant to do well eventually. I mean, it is a free-to-play game, so there's no barrier of entry, but you have to consider it's a brand new IP. In grand scheme of things, there really hasn't been all that massive of a marketing push for the game. Like COD, Battlefield, other games published with massive publishers behind them, there's usually months and months of build-up and marketing to promote the game. Not saying that we didn't see pockets of time where the game was playable that could have acted as marketing of its own, but like, they announced the launch date of the game mere weeks before it launched, and then still only posted blog posts and social accounts like tweets. There was no global marketing campaigns plastering Times Square or Piccadilly Circus with digital billboards promoting its launch or anything like that. So from a purely organic perspective of people jumping in and trying it out, that's awesome to see that there's enough a draw of the game and interest that it can speak for itself. And number three, as a whole for the FPS space, the higher the player count, the more of the air quote industry competition it can be. Like I've said from day one, the games can and absolutely will coexist. One's a free-to-play game with a more arcade shooter vibe to it and focused around community feedback to build an experience together. Another, when you think of who XDefiant's player base may have that big crossover with, is one of the largest video game IPs in history, with billions of dollars on a budget annually to create and market the game. So the two are very different situations. Catering, sure, some crossover in players, but they're not always going to be the same. Like I'm sure some COD players are not going to pick up XDefiant, and I'm sure some XDefiant players won't touch Call of Duty. XDefiant can survive and thrive based off of being a free-to-play game with a fun experience, and COD can survive and thrive off of that signature COD experience and feel. Plenty of the comments I've seen already is that, yeah, XDefiant doesn't match the fluidity of COD because it's a brand new game on an engine that isn't designed for FPS, whereas COD has been building off of itself for the last 20 years. So like, there's definitely two very distinguished wings here at this, but even while I think both can coexist and people enjoy games at the same time, any large option of players that has the potential to take away from another game's player base and audience, well, that should, in theory, light a fire under them to end up trying to incentivize play more in their game, which then just proves more fruitful for the player, whether that be more in-game rewards, fair to consumer practices, doesn't matter. It's just something that the more competition there is, it's better for the players. But honestly, the success of the game so far, I think, has been pretty good news, and I think it's a testament to what XDefiant is trying to build. What made it appealing to me was the less serious nature of the game, the simple gameplay loop that anyone can pick up, a bit of nostalgia, sure, a sense of communal interest in feedback from the development team, like they've actively listened to and tailored some of the game to feedback directly from the community, and of course, skill-based matchmaking not being there is certainly a nice thing to have. It's actually hilarious, though, talking about that, how much looking at side-by-side experiences go, how night and day it is. Like, I won't lie, I do think that grinding out pub matches and ranked play since Modern Warfare 2019, with a matchmaking system that attempts to put you against as many players similarly skilled as you, I do think it's absolutely made me a better, more aware player than I already was, which made that switch to just simply connection-based that much more hilariously night and day to me. Now, do I still have games where I'm fighting for my life? Absolutely. I mean, the last few nights playing in a party, it felt like we were only playing other massive parties with people with Twitch or Kick in their name, so they were going hard as hell, as were we. But especially when solo, it's not every single game like it is in most FPS games at the moment. So I think this game has been a testament to what the industry can produce. You create something fun in a gameplay loop, you tailor it to your player base, working with them to figure out what community works best, because at the end of the day, a happy player is going to play the game even more. You have a connection and matchmaking experience that prioritizes ping and doesn't artificially inflate any skill level, and you have plans to continue pushing forward into the future. It's a refreshing thing to see, at least in my opinion. Again, for anybody that may disagree, that is totally cool. But just for somebody like me that has been enjoying the playtime so far, has been putting in a couple of days since the launch, well, it's nice to see and have this as an option to play among a myriad of other different games. Now, looking forward to the future, I still think that while this game is in its infancy, it has a lot of room to grow. Like, obviously, things like the foundational side of stuff with fixes for netcode and hit rig, spawns, more key pillars of the game like private matches, a ranked mode, and other stuff coming that we've talked about before. With the immediate success by comparison to those internal goals, I also think that this should hopefully secure a future for XDefiant, like long-term support, proving to Ubisoft on the publisher end, not the Ubisoft San Francisco dev team, but Ubisoft as a publisher that, yeah, this actually does have some staying power and can do well long term. Will it be as explosive as it is these first couple of weeks? Probably not. Every game fizzles out eventually, but still, the player base will be there. Free to play is going to guarantee that for you. If there's no barrier of entry, doesn't matter if the game is a year old, 2 years old, or brand new like it is right now. Somebody will try it, and therefore, there's going to be support. But when those numbers are so high initially, well, it might be something that lends a testament to the staying power in the future, which is definitely nice. And I mean, we've already seen some stuff for Season 1 that looks to be really cool. Season 1 detailed so far includes GSG9 rumors for a faction, which ends up including the ranked official release, a couple of new weapons of the LVOA, the L115, the sawed-off shotgun, the maps of Rockefeller and Street Race, Capture the Flag as a mode, a couple of different things for factions in terms of operators, and then like shield and barbed wire, along with other different stuff in terms of battle passes and other adjustments that are made in the meantime. So obviously there's more outwards in Season 2 and 4 for Year 1 guaranteed, but I mean, looks like we have a lot of stuff still to look forward to in the future. And with Season 1 coming up in just about a month's time, we, grand scheme of things, won't be waiting too long for that. So that's the, I think, good news that we learned about for XDefiant here and the launch and the initial reception of the game so far. So just wanted to share that with you guys, found it cool, and we're going to get back to some more stuff in regards to the standard tips, tricks, and sort of guides content here upcoming tomorrow and beyond. But just wanted to share that with you here today, talk a little bit of news for XDefiant. But anyways, that I think is what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this? Do you like the game so far? Do you like that the game has exceeded internal expectations? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things XDefiant. And of course, other FPS content like Black Ops 6's reveal is upcoming. I'd love to have in the community as we cover all of that. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.